there nothing inherently wrong in the Land Use Act?
Honestly,
given the history and how it came up between the northern and southern,
yes,
a good thing you stay in the north.
The Land Use Act is a problem that must be revisited.
If something is wrong with that.
Something is wrong. And what is wrong with that is that in section 28, that talks of overriding public interest. What is overriding public interest to you as a person? Or to me as a person? You know, it does not have economic implications because, you see, when it was passed in 1978, much of the economy of Nigeria was in the hands of the public. It was public economy. Now that we have private entrepreneurs who are driving the engine of the economy, the Land Use Act does not favor them at all. You see, instead of just overriding public interest, which has been amorphous, even it's been defined by many courts as such things that the totality of the will of the people want. But when you begin to break it down with what has happened, like Governor Wilbur and Watcher and all that, these authorities that were decided with it, you find that what the government sees as overriding public interest is maybe to set up a military camp, to set up a police formation. It does not go to allowing someone who is an investor in agriculture to have land.
So do those who say at the time that, look, this is, had all the trappings of the military in this one, because at the time when they wanted land, before the Land Use Act came up, they couldn't get it because the local people were controlling all of those. They came up with the Land Use Act, merged it, and that's what we still have till today.
Okay. No, they are right. It had the trappings of the military. But it still saw some problems. But because before then, we had the land tenure law in the north. Is quite different from what we have in the west. So a lot of problems have been solved, but you still need to address it. But amending it does not mean that it hasn't really solved much problem in Nigeria. But we can tinker a few things on it. It's not in one fell swoop, you wipe it off. The sin. I'm talking of, you have a situation that is 80% good, and you just want to add the remaining 20%. The cry is
sorry, Chairman, because going back to the Constitution, which you say is not entirely defective,
yes.
You know, shouldn't we also be talking about the kinds of leaders we have? Perhaps maybe that would have been able to help us implement them better. I have this mail here from Colbert, and he's saying, don't you think we should review the educational requirements of people seeking political office? Because as it is, it's just at school set, or how do they call it? First school leaving certificate, secondary school certificate. So if that is the minimum, and we've seen loads of people come in to say, well, they are already political leaders, and that is what they have. How much and how well can someone with a WASC or WAEC result give to the people? How much of understanding does he or she have when it comes to the laws of this country?
Well, but I just have to say one thing. The problem in Nigeria has not been the educational attainment of the leaders per se.
So that is out of it.
So much about it. Look, let me tell you. In the First Republic, most of those people, apart from a few of them, they didn't have all this, but we didn't have all the problems we're having now. But I know with the evolution, you know, the country is no longer what it used to be.
No, but those who piloted the affairs,
had
basic qualifications.
Affairs at the top. Maybe
but they were eruditely qualified.
No, you are talking of the premiers and all that. All of the commissioners under them.
But who
under them?
Who drove those processes?
The processes were driven by those on top. And checked by those on top.
And sorry, some would also argue that the quality of education you get, maybe when you leave high school or you leave elementary school, then it's not the same you get now. To the extent that those with university degrees can't actually match some of those who came out with a standard 6 way back.
That's not true. I was in a court in Abuja, and I was cross-examining a witness. The witness sued a media company that I represent. He said it was libeled and all that. I say where? He said the page of the newspaper. Then I gave him the newspaper to read. I said, read this paper. the way he was reading it showed that he couldn't even understand it. And I said, please tell us, pause there, tell us the educational qualification. He said he did primary 7. I said to primary 7, can you understand what is written? Do you know what you call subject and predicate? In this passage, what is the subject, what is the predicate? I began to, take him through the crucibles. Of course, he couldn't get it.
And his counsel allowed you to do that?
Oh, sure, he did. He allowed me because he had put his educational qualification in issues. Then I had to question on that. He said he's eruditely qualified to know what it was. Then the judge was the one that came in, said that her father did primary 7 in those days, and that the level of her father is better than the degree holders today. I said, my lord, with due respect, I disagree. And I asked the witness a question. I said, in those days, when you did primary 7, did the education end with primary 7? He said, no. He said there was Cambridge. I said, Cambridge, how many years? He said, how many years? I said, did you end with Cambridge? He said, no. There was a degree. We had degrees. I said, degree, how many years? He said, how many years? I said, that goes without saying that standard 6 today and primary 7 they are the same. Because if you say how to go through this, they are not better. Look, let me tell you, when I see what my kids can do now with a computer, when I see what my kids know, the word of knowledge my kids have of the world, I think they are better than we are.
At the end of the day, if we have the middle class get a lot more politically active,
yes,
and we don't have a national conference,
yes, what
do you think we will have?
If they get a little bit more politically active, the middle class, and we don't have a conference, then what of the lower class? You're talking about the middle class. I say the problem is more with the scum of the earth. The problem is more with the average Fulani cattle rearer who moves from one state to the other looking for grazing farm.
How do you mean the problem is with them?
The problem is, okay, much of the problems we have on the ground has been these altercations between the Fulani cattle rearers and the owners of the farmlands. It's showing it first in Benue State, is in a Plateau State. These men, they are not in any way within our classifications.
So for you, this conference should go on?
For me,
sort a lot of things out.
The conference should go on. It's not about the political. There are so many issues, but there are some issues that you never even touched. I thought to touch. And maybe you have taken it before I came. And that's the issue people say as to the mode, whether it will go through the National Assembly, because I've had a lot of people say that. Should we go through the National Assembly or do we go through a referendum?
Briefly, what do you think?
You cannot leave the National Assembly. Okay. The Constitution by